Okay, guys, we're back on the Tire Slayer, the GSXR 1000, the 2006 model here. And I wanted to share this process. I don't know, I haven't been vlogging much lately, but what I've been dealing with was at the track at Hallett last month. I ended up with my front suspension was locked up. I had no travel downward. It would not compress, and it also would not unload. So I took it to my local suspension guy. Shout out to Speed Tech near Augusta, Kansas. He's done all my suspension work. He uses a lot of Race Tech parts. Oh yeah, you can see I got good squish now, and I'm not feeling every single bump. Yeah, mid lapping session at Hallett, I actually immediately lost all compression ability. My suspension would not travel at all. So I taxied it in. I still was going faster than what I probably should have been going, but I taxied it in safely. That's an interesting feeling, not having any suspension travel. And I found out right away that it wouldn't compress, and I was like, well, I'm spending this afternoon on the Supermoto, which I had a blast on. And that was my YZ400F Supermoto that I've rode several thousand track miles on. And this thing sat for a couple weeks because I started harvesting grapes at the winery, and I just didn't have any time to try to get this diagnosed. And I got a hold of Speed Tech, and they said, hey, I've got a window right now. I can get this process started for you, see if we can diagnose what's going on. And he was able to get to it relatively quickly. I slipped him a couple bottles of wine to get to the front of the line, or secure my point in the front of the line. His wife, I'm sure, appreciates that. And yesterday I got it back. I took it over to him, and he diagnosed it. And he said there were two major things that were going on. One of them, as a result of what was going on, these baffles, these pieces of plastic that hold the fork springs in place, they were broken. And the reason why they were broken was because the springs in the kit, these have AK-20 cartridges in it, but apparently either someone changed the springs or they just did not include the proper springs. In diameter, they were sprung correctly as far as weight goes, as far as spring rate and all of that, but they were the wrong diameter. They were too small. And so when the fork springs were compressed, they would kind of torque over. No, they weren't torquing, they torqued over, and doing that over and over and over again allowed it to put some pressure on the baffles, these pieces that keep the fork springs aligned properly, and they broke. And they broke in such a way that it bound the spring and allowed it not to move. And on top of there not being very much there was a bunch of plastic material in the fork oil. So they'd been chewing on it for a long time. So one side was completely bound up, and the other one was well on its way because the fork spring was cracked and well on its way to doing the same thing. I'm checking out the fire department over here. Let's check this out. We got a gusher. My stream is not that strong. That's cool. Anyway, this is my first ride. I went through and set things up and put the fork tubes back into the trees, and I'm just kind of doing a shakedown ride here because this is on Labor Day and I'm not at work, thank goodness. And I've got a track day this next weekend, and it is the motorcycle appreciation days at Hallett. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think this thing's going to run great for me because it really turns in well. So hopefully we don't have to do anything to clean up the settings on this. I've never had to touch anything that Dennis has done for me. The semis get the right of way when I'm around. Those guys work hard. They have a hard job, our drivers. So shout out to our drivers getting all of our parts. And I don't know, things that are just as important as far as parts, food, and every single other essential thing. So thank you, truckers. So back down in first. Little power wheelie in first. That's like a quarter throttle. Hope they get their rig fixed. If I was a diesel mechanic, I'd help them out. But yeah, we're running up our temperature a little bit, so I'm going to just putting around just is not getting the job done for the GSXR 1000. So this is the end of this video. I just wanted to share what was going on. If you like stuff like this, let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.